And I'm not telling you to go out and burn a bunch of bridges. And I'm not telling you that you don't need to have social skills, because I think a lot of people are growing retarded in some sense because of the lack of social skills. And they don't understand that it's way better for people to be social and at least be able to disagree and move forward than to let your ego get in the way. Because, man, people that don't want to hear the harsh truths, like let's say they think that they know things and they have an understanding, and they think that they understand that they think they know something, but they really don't. And so when you're somebody that reveals a harsh truth to them and they respond by saying, well, I think this is what you're doing. It sounds like you don't really. And so they just start to point the finger back at you because they don't want to look at themselves in that situation because they think that they're right. And you say, well, look, I'm just speaking the truth here. I'm not trying to degrade you. I'm not trying to do anything but encourage you to see the light. That's all I'm saying. And you're trying to support them through telling you something that's not going to stroke their ego. And sometimes people don't like that because they want to believe that they know something. And so if they respond and are in their ego about it, and they don't know how to have a healthy disagreement, and they're going to be pushing ad hominems back on you, man, that's where it gets personal. And it doesn't need to get personal, but it does get personal sometimes with these people. But when you're able to just move on, that makes you dangerous. When you're able to just disagree and be like, oh yeah, I don't really subscribe to that, but I can see how you might. And you can summarize the person's viewpoint in a way that doesn't degrade their perspective. That's very valuable. That's very understanding. But when you just throw ad hominems back at the person you just character assassinate, you're going to be the one that looks like you have an attitude problem. But this is where you have to show appreciation and gratitude. Be like, look, I appreciate who you are. I'm just saying that this is the way that I see it. And if they don't want to move on, then that's going to be on them. And that's where you might have to burn the bridge. But what I've realized recently is, like, what's crazy is I don't even have a super large following or subscriber list yet. And I know I will. And I already know I'm the kind of person to have that, but it's not yet coming into fruition yet. And yet I have people that are, leagues ahead of me, so to speak, and quote unquote, in the realm of quantity of followers and whatever. But my quality of followers and subscribers, I would rather be around these people. Like, people in my comment section, they are understanding, they're open-minded, they're compassionate, but they're also industrious. And I'm thinking to myself, your value as a person, especially like in the social media space, your value comes from the kinds of people that follow you, not from the quantity of followers. It's quality, not quantity. I don't know why I keep having trouble with saying the differentiation there. I'm still kind of waking up, honestly. I've been awake for about an hour now, but I went to bed super late last night, and I was just in a groove. Sometimes when you're in a groove, you don't want to stop. You just want to keep going. And so I just allowed myself to move forward with that. And today I'm going to be working a little bit more diligently with my mind than my body. Over the past couple of days, I've been working more with my body than my mind. And so I'm going to just continue to strive for the cultivation of what I need to have happen for me. Sculpting my body, sculpting my mind, but also strengthening my spirit as well. And sometimes the best way to strengthen your spirit is by being able to just move on with things. So many people out here are so focused on the quantity of things, or the luxurious appeal of things. You know, they want to see how they are better than other people with material, or they're going to be flashing, you know, money at the other people as well. I cannot tell you, I won't say names, but there's a certain person in, he rhymes with bait. Flandreau Flate. Flandreau Bait. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And he's this kind of guy where if he has if you have a disagreement with him, he'll just say, oh yeah, but who has more money? It's like, that's the kind of person that he is, and that's the kind of mentality that he has. And if you want to have that kind of mentality, go for it. You know, if you want to have the kind of mindset where if you're in a point where you just disagree with somebody and you don't have anything to back it up, and you want to flash the money that you've scammed other people into believing that you have this kind of form of knowledge or truth that's more relevant, you know, because he does spit some truth sometimes, but it's just enough truth to twist the truth into something else, right? That's exactly what happens with a lot of these kinds of people. And I genuinely think that we have to be very, very mindful of how we are going to be associating ourselves and who we're listening to and who we're consuming content from, because let's be real, most of the people that are in this world are consumers. They're not producers, they're not creators, they're consumers. And it's going to be up to the people that are creating or that are producing to give something that is meaningful, to give something that is truthful, to give something that brings life and spirit and truth to the reality that we live in. Because if we don't, it's going to be very challenging for people to actually see the light. It's going to be very challenging for people to actually associate themselves with the bigger purpose here that's at play, which is God's plan. Many people don't want to associate themselves with spirit and truth anymore, because if they do, and if they did, that means that they will have spiritual persecution left and right. And it's not about having this weird martyr syndrome or anything like that, because anybody that's actually on this path understands the realness of gang stalking, of all of these different kinds of mind programming controls and all that. Because somebody asked me, what is MK Ultra programming? Because I mentioned it in a video recently. And MK Ultra programming is essentially a psyop from the government from 50 plus years ago, and allegedly it's stopped. But the thing is that's part of the psyop. Like, it's part of the psyop to ensure, like, oh yeah, you're not being mind controlled anymore. These are not the droids you're looking for. These are not the droids like that. That's the kind of mentality, right? That's the kind of thing that they want you to believe. And so when I see a lot of these influencers or social media people or these fake entrepreneurs, I've seen so many fake people, and man, I've exposed so many people on accident recently. It's insane. It's genuinely insane, because I'm just being who I am. And I always assume good intentions at first, because that's just a more practical way to view life. But I'm aware of the meta universe behind that superficiality. But energy doesn't lie. And well, how do you read energy, especially if it's like through a screen? Well, you can feel the energy if you just allow yourself to be susceptible to the energy. And what exactly does that look like? It means you have to learn how to surrender. You have to learn how to surrender to what's going on in the environment, while simultaneously not being tense and not being too loose that you're not awake. Part of manifesting the warrior archetype, for example, is learning how to not be tense, but not be asleep. You're awake walking through life, but you're not always on edge looking for somebody to fight. That's the difference. You're ready, but you're not trying to cause anything, or you're not trying to not cause anything. You're simply at ease with existence and ready for whatever happens. And this is something of a philosophy that Bruce Lee's talked about a lot. Anybody that doesn't do martial arts, I highly recommend you learn martial arts. And then once you develop the actual skill of it, take the philosophies that you'll learn from it. Because my Kung Fu instructor growing up, my Shifu, he would always say that martial art problems are life problems and life problems are martial art problems. I've been able to apply that into my sports that I do, like basketball or tennis or racquetball or soccer, all those other sports that I've played. I mainly played basketball and tennis, but when I was doing that, even now in the gym, right now I'm building my endurance. I built so much endurance over the past few weeks, and the only thing that I'm doing different is I'm going very hard one day, I'm going extremely hard and diligent one day, and the next day I'm not doing too much. Or I'm going super hard for a couple days, ease back a little bit for a couple days, but I'm still going to the gym. I'm still doing what I need to do. I'm just not going as intense because I'm starting to understand how my body works at a deeper level. And I'm starting to understand how to move in a way that makes me dangerous, because I'm not trying to be dangerous, but I'm capable of it. That's what you got to be sure of when you're interacting with these people. And sometimes when it comes to the realm of power, anybody that's read 48 Laws of Power, for example, when it comes to power, sometimes you have to know when to not precisely kiss butts, but to not outshine the master, right? Because that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made early on, which I wish I knew about. And that's sometimes going to be the reason why you're going to transcend your peers. You're going to transcend all of these other people around you, because you have a transcendental mindset now. You don't want to be stuck in the small town anymore. I wasn't really raised in a small town, but I wasn't really raised in a town where there was a lot of big ambitions, let's say. And even now where I'm at, it's a more smaller town, but it's still a city. It's not quite urban, or it's not quite urban, it's not quite rural, but it's somewhere in between. And that's what I kind of like about this place, right? That's what I like. And I like the geographical location of this place, but there's a lot of people that still have small town ambitions. I do not have small town ambitions. And sometimes I'm reminded of that when I'm just being who I am in the community. And I realize more and more my need to be around more ambitious people. And that's why we have the Regal Change Academy. That's why I do my mentorship programs, because I understand that there are people out there that are like me that benefit from my knowledge, my experience, because I've seen a lot. I'll never say I've seen it all anymore. I used to say, oh, I've seen it all. And now it's not that I've seen it all. It's more like nothing surprises me. I can be surprised about nothing surprising me. That's pretty much where I'm at. Because in my video yesterday, I made, it was called God's Gonna Surprise You Big Time, or God Will Surprise You Big Time. And I stand by that, because you'll always be amazed at what God can do, but you'll never be surprised that he can do it. And that's the same kind of aspect and perspective that I have in my own life. Is I'm never really surprised anymore about how my life is going to be building, because I know that I'm capable. I know that I have the the self-confidence and the self-image that is positive to do so. But what I don't have all the time is the patience or the thinking that I can do this, for the long-term endurance and all that, because those kinds of doubts will sometimes creep in. But that's why you have to just not give up. Something I said yesterday in my video, which seemed to resonate with a lot of people. I had multiple people reaching out to me about this. I said, if you never give up, then sooner or later, you're not going to fail. Like, you're going to stop failing sooner or later. And I'm glad that that resonated with a lot of people. And that was something I realized yesterday, because yeah, you're going to have those moments of doubt, and you're going to think sometimes like, man, can I really do this? Can I really do that? Oh man. Whew. But the thing is, you just have to not give up. You just have to not give up, and not giving up makes you dangerous too. And being able to just move on from things, it's going to make you dangerous. And being able to move on from disagreements, or from, you're not taking things personally. This life, don't take anything too personally. It's crazy how some of the people that preach about this the most, like, oh, don't take things personally. And then if they get critiqued in a rightful way, it's not just an ad hominem, it's not a character assassination, they get super offended, and then they project that onto you. And it's like, well, I'm not offended, but I think this is what you're thinking wrong here. And I'm not saying that your character is wrong. I'm just saying that the way that you're thinking about this, I think, is wrong. And they'll say, oh, well, what do you know? I don't know. It's like, I'm not saying that I know everything. I'm just saying that this is my perspective on your perspective. And you're the one that put out this information to begin with. Like, you're the one that wanted to know about what people thought about this. So I don't know what you're on, man. Like, this is crazy. And those kinds of dudes, and women, but women I can understand it more, just because that's more who they are. But men that do this kind of stuff, it's so feminine. It's so clear that they're emasculated, and they've emasculated themselves to some degree, and they've let themselves be emasculated. It's like their balls haven't dropped, It's like they don't know how to pick up their balls after they've dropped and move them forward, like just move themselves forward somewhere. It's like, man, dude, everybody wants to, at a certain point, some dudes want to do a measuring contest, and you're just sitting there like, man, pick up your damn balls and move forward, for crying out loud. Ugh. But, that's it's not even like I'm angry. I'm not even angry. It's just, can you grow up? Like, can we stop being in high school? I thought we were supposed to be entrepreneurs here. I thought we were supposed to be people that had big ambitions here, but apparently not. That's what I love about the Regal Change Academy, is we don't put up with that BS. We don't put up with that BS at all. Like, I've had people in the past, within the last 4 months, I've had to terminate a few people from the community. And I don't like doing that. I really don't. But that's not a place to excuse my French here, it's not a place to bitch and complain. Okay? If you want to vent a little bit, go ahead. This is the place to feel safe. This is a place to understand, like, you can have a community here. But to just wail, like, just a wail, man, no, we're not having that there. So that's what I really like about that community is, sometimes when you don't fit into the world, you got to create your own. And that's exactly what we're doing there. And we're surrounded by people that are like-minded, that do have big ambitions, that don't let anything stop them. And it's just so refreshing. Like, for a lot of people, I cannot tell you how many times I've had people tell me in the community, it's always just so refreshing to come away from the conversation feeling more light than they came in. That's the whole point. Man, if you don't feel more light coming away from an interaction, they're usually just taking your energy, or they're just trying to take something from you, like whatever it is, knowledge, or I guess that's a form of energy, but still, like if you don't come away at least feeling neutral from an interaction, that's probably a sign that the other person is a taker, okay? And that's why you just move on from those kinds of situations. You just move on. Makes you dangerous. And a lot of people don't want to move on. They want to, it's like, I mean, look, if you want to point out the truth, I get it. I get it. But the ad hominem attacks got to stop, man. Like, the ad hominems got to stop. But anyways, guys, I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. And I do appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to X, Rumble, and Instagram. If you do want to join the free Telegram group chat, feel free to check the link in the description box below. And then if you want to join the Regal Change Academy as well, the link will also be there in the link in the description box below. We do not have the free Discord channel for the Regal Change Academy anymore. It is just the paid community and then the Telegram group chat. We do have a community on X that we're getting ready to build right now. So if you do want to check that out on X, go for it. But other than that, I hope everybody stays blessed and peace be with you all. Until next time.